President Obama is not a fan of these items. He talked about it in the debate. Wants a ban on these. He's assaulting the civil liberties of Americans with their Second Amendment. He doesn't want anybody to carry any of these either. 24 hours after the election, in fact, it was just the very next morning, gun sales were skyrocketing. And he decides to support a new global UN resolution. I wanted to get David Keene in. He's the president of the National Rifle Association, and talk to him about a couple of things. First of all, David, what do you know about the gun sales? I would imagine the last 2 days have set through the roof, right?
Well, you know, you're usually right, Glenn, and when you predicted that that was going to happen, you were dead on right, because with Obama's reelection, an awful lot of Americans who are supporters of the Second Amendment knew exactly what that meant and what it means for them, and that is that their rights and the ability for private citizens to purchase firearms is going to be under fire in this country unless we are able to beat it back over the course of the next couple of years. So they rushed out to buy guns that they're fearful they may not be able to buy a year from now. So gun sales, ammunition sales, and the like have spiked just since the election.
Tell me, because I haven't seen this yet in the press, and I hope not to see this in the press, but it's the kind of thing that the press will do, is they will say, oh, those are people arming for a revolution, or they're anti-Obama or whatever. I look at this as I just want to be grandfathered in. I mean, it's one thing to tax...
That's exactly what it is, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to tax
what it is. They want to be grandfathered in because they're fearful.
Right.
That they won't be able to buy guns next year.
Or they may not say, oh, for instance, this, in some places you can buy this, but you have to buy an antique, and so it's, $20,000 to buy, right, where, that's not what it costs to make. And so they just make it cost prohibitive. That way they say, we're not banning anything, but you just can't afford the bullets or anything like that.
Exactly. That's part of the strategy. That's the indirect strategy to take on the Second Amendment. But like a lot of liberal politicians, prior to the election, Barack Obama denied he had any designs on the Second Amendment. One of his journalistic lapdogs, Chris Matthews, had actually said we were paranoid to believe that he had designs on the Second Amendment or that he would in any way restrict America's gun rights. We, however, were a little fearful that what he said to Sarah Brady, the head of the largest anti-gun group in this country, was true. He said, look, I'm going to deliver on my promises to you, but right now I have to operate under the radar. Now that the elections have taken place, within hours of being reelected, Barack Obama sent a message to the United Nations, I want that small arms treaty on my desk so I can sign it. Today, Senator Feinstein and others were meeting in the Senate to craft a new Clinton gun ban that they could take to the Senate floor and try and get the president's desired abolishment of so-called assault weapons enacted. We can expect that he is going to go after Second Amendment rights in every way that he can. Part of it, as you said, is to simply raise the price of firearms, to raise the price of ammunition, to make it more difficult for an average citizen to purchase firearms. That pushes out people that don't have the time, the resources to really go in and buy what they need. Secondly, he is hoping that he can handle the whole deal by appointing new Supreme Court justices. Remember, the Second Amendment's intended meaning was ratified in the so-called Heller case 2 years ago by a 5-4 Supreme Court majority. He's already appointed 2 justices who, while they said they believe in the Second Amendment, have since said that they think that the Heller decision should be reversed. And if he gets 1, 2, or 3 more appointments, he can simply abolish the individual right to keep and bear arms in this country. And he's said in the past that he doesn't think any private citizen has the right to own a firearm in this country.
So besides joining the NRA, what do you recommend the average citizen do?
Well, at this point, I think we need to do a few things. First of all, the Congress needs to be encouraged to continue to try to get to the bottom of the Fast and Furious scandal. And Eric Holder, who has said he just doesn't know how long he's going to hang on as Attorney General, should be required, and we should demand that he be fired. Secondly, people should be writing to their senators and saying, if a gun treaty from the UN signed by Barack Obama comes before the Senate for ratification, you ought to demand that your Senate vote against it. You know, last time it came up, or prior to the election, 58 members of the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, sent a message to the President and to the UN, said, send it up here, we'll rip it up, we'll shred it, we'll throw it in the trash.
All right.
We have a new Senate. And
I've got to run. I'm sorry I'm up against a network break, but thank you so much, and we'll have you on again.
That's so anytime.
God
anytime.
bless. Thank you.
Okay.